Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Big Talk on Global Television. And of course, where we'll be extracting many issues in the country and of course the way forward in all of the issues that we are facing in the country. Much concern has been given to the issues of electricity tariff, reviewed prices by the federal government for those customers in Band A. And this has also generated concern about if we do not even have Band A having the 20 hours presumably light sustenance. What really then is the effect of increasing and reviewing the prices? And also, now fuel subsidy was gone. And then what then is the government doing in the subsidizing electricity for the common and of course Nigerians? These are issues that have sparked controversies. And even to the fact that even the Minister of Power came out to say that Nigeria are wasting power. All of these has been issues of concern that in abroad, that people do not actually, the users of power in the outside Nigeria has been on a very manageable margin compared to Nigeria. So Nigerians are, joining issues with the minister, are even calling for the minister to resign. That has been the conversations over the week since the federal government increases. So we'll be taking a look at this issue. I'm being joined by a senior citizen of this country. I'm referring to Dr. Tommy, who of course is the first vice president of Trade Union of Nigeria. Good to have you join us on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
It's always a delight to have you join us because you've actually had a good experience in this country and you understand things like this because even the TUC and Labour Party, the Labour Congress and NLC are kicking against this move by the federal government. But I want to get your perspective because this is actually about, Nigerians have been going through a lot and recently moved by the federal government to review the prices. Do you feel that is the right timing and is a step in the right direction?
Well, it's a very worrisome situation in the sense that any government that have the support of the masses and get to power decide to jettison all what came as a result of the manifesto and also pleading, to get that done. So I recall when Fela sang a song titled Suffering and Smiling. And what we are facing today is suffering and smiling. And I also recall the old video we used to watch, in the 90s called Living in Bondage. So Nigeria have what it takes, but they are living in poverty. So, and the basic ingredient to get us out of this wood is leadership. So we are in for it, and we are looking at it again, because it is worrisome that we are still nursing the pains from the removal of the fuel subsidy. Exactly. And government failed to look at the mood of the country. And I feel that removing the tariff in electricity and tack it for Band A client. I'm not surprised that even when the Minister of Power, decided to speak from uninformed background, because I expected him at that level to be well knowledgeable, taking cognizance of the fact that he's occupying a very sensitive position. I sympathize with his level of ignorance to say that Nigerian is wasting power. I'm not also surprised, especially when people are in authority. They will feel that they know it all, but they know nothing. It was in this same country that David Mark, when he was the Minister of Communication, said that telephone is not meant for the poor. And I'm sure if you ask him to say that again, he will not want to say that because the obvious is very clearing to his face. And I'm happy that he's living to see. I'm also very concerned because I know very well that the Minister of Power will live to see Nigeria since he feel that we are wasting. Can he compare Nigerian economy to what he's telling us about other crime? Can he compare the workability, the leadership? When somebody wants to compare Nigeria with a developed clime, I think he should also have his books and history, to justify the comparison. Otherwise, they should keep quiet and think how Nigerian can get out of the woods.
All right. Very wonderful submissions right there. Now, that's the words of the minister. And of course, everyone that have been condemning the minister for making such an outrageous statement. But there are so many questions to look critically. The corruption in the power sector. I understand that you are not an expert, but you've been in this Nigeria, you understand how we've transited from the issues of NEPA to where we are. Do you feel that we're having crisis of management? Because even when government are saying that we have privatized power, and now people are saying, government, why are you still interested in regulating prices for consumers?
Let me say this, when the NERC Act was signed by this very president in 2023, it was hopeful that Nigeria will, for the first time, get out of all this back and forth in terms of power generation, distributions, and transmission, But we've just realized that even in 2022, you remember the then President Muhammadu Buhari, we were of the hope that the so-called subsidy, in electricity tariff was removed, because that was when it was jacked to 66 naira per kilowatts of generation. But what we are seeing today with the advent of the act is another dimension to impoverish the poor. I give this instance because when you look at the so-called, we have 5 bands: band A, band B, band C, band D, band E. And when you look at it, if you want to buy power now, you find out that the units you are going to get for 10,000 naira cannot be the same. So what those parameters they use to measure this band is just semantic, because it's going to cut all across the band. And let me also say this for emphasis. The Act provided that before you go into this nitty-gritty of removal of tariff or whatsoever may be the case, there must be that stakeholders engagement. They didn't do that. And you wake up, even when you attain the line of IMF, there is no World Bank project today that will be executed without stakeholders engagement. So what are we talking about? Who is misleading us? Who is misinforming us? There wasn't any communication for you to put the stakeholders, the direct beneficiaries in the picture. As we speak, a lot of, by right, meters, prepaid meters supposed to have been distributed free. But that has not come. Even those who have paid. And when you go, they say they are trying to program, configure, and so. What are you configuring? Because they have decided to enslave people by giving them estimated bill. Because when you look at that, it automatically shows you that they are still allowing those who don't have meter, and then want to ensure that those with meter pay for those meters that they are not using. So these are the issues that we need to look at it. So it doesn't matter. I don't know how many sectors can claim that they are even receiving 20 hours power. I don't know, because if that has come to fall, it therefore also means that we are celebrating things ordinary we're supposed to hide ourselves in shame. Nigeria is old enough. When you look at the transition, like you said, from NEPA, the act that established NEPA was repealed to PCN, and then we are now going into that you can transmit and then be able to, even from the Greek. So you now see, by now Nigeria is supposed to be celebrating 24 hours electricity. So what is so special about 20 hours electricity? The implication is that every sector, for instance, if I work in the breweries today, I'm getting 20 hours power, it therefore means that because you have increased the tariff, the price of the product must also be increased. The vulcanizer who have the opportunity to own light will also increase. The barbers will also increase. It therefore means that when we are suffering from the removal of fuel subsidy, which we are looking at Dangote refineries and those refineries coming up, we are also experiencing it again in the power sector. Then when will the economy get out of the wood? You will realize that nothing goes up in Nigeria and come down. They are telling us that the dollars have come down. Yes, we have seen. But it can also be, a technical way of giving false impression and false hope, because the coming down of the price of dollar have not affected the price of food items in the market. I stand to be corrected. So we are just going back and forth and making people feel that the economy will pick up. All what we are seeing is revenue generation without corresponding effort to ensure that the economy better. So if you generate all this revenue and the citizens are dying, what is the economic benefit of generating revenue, and who are you generating it for? When the living condition of the masses are not in tandem with the reality we are expected now. Do you know how many people are dying, even in the hospital? Do you know how many people are dying? And let me also add this, the expectation of the CNG buses, which was to be a stopgap from the removal of fuel subsidy up to today, getting to 1 year, we have not seen it anywhere in the street of either Lagos or Abuja.
The one that was flagged off by the minister.
Well, those are. I'm talking about the CNG buses, which the government gave hope to the masses that they were leaving the fossil gas and we are coming into using gas to power cars that will crash the price of transportation. Have we seen anyone?
And now Nigerians are faced with electricity.
Serious matter. Electricity. That when you retire from hard day, you may have AC in your house. You say, okay, let me even put off the AC to kill the tension, or take cold water from the fridge. Now you need to off your fridge, off your freezer. For God's sake, how are we? How do we get here in the first instance?
When it started with the word of Father, where we are smiling and also we are going through pains, because that is the reality of so many Nigerians, shared by the first Vice President, Dr. Tommy. We'll get back to you. Let's get to join Osoba Adesoji, who is the Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers here in Abuja, who is joining us via Zoom for the purpose of this discussion. Good to have you join us on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, it's not quite long we had you on the program where we were talking about the issues and the corruptions in the electricity sector. And now we did not picture that there will be a review in the tariff. What is the reality of this? And of course, tell us, give us a breakdown of the issues of band A, B, and all of that. Does it mean that there is a move to bring some some consumers towards the band A to be able to have access to 20 hours capacity electricity?
Thank you very much for that question. Like the in-studio doctor said, it is becoming a joke, really. It's becoming a joke that Nigeria is deploying this band A, band B. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? Why are we still not being able to celebrate that we have 20 or 24 hours or even 18 hours free flow of electricity supply in our system after so much investment? After so much investment, they are trying to bring this issue of band A, band B, band C, band D. Go and check. It's only Nigeria that this thing is being deployed. Why should 24 hours power supply be an issue in Nigeria after so much investment? Now, in terms of what they actually want to bring, how they intend to bring people into this band A, band B, band C, I'm telling you, it's a joke. It's a joke. This is what they are doing. These discos that have been sold these infrastructures to improve the distribution of power in Nigeria are really taking the federal government of Nigeria for granted. Even the former minister, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, said it, that they are taking the federal government for granted, because most of these infrastructures are expected to be properly upgraded so that they will be able to supply adequate power and distribute it onto those existing or upgraded infrastructures. Now, these issues about the policy making towards ensuring that Nigerians enjoy 18 hours to 24 hours power supply, it's not working. The government brought out these policies, but they are not following it up. So as a result, all these discos, they are taking advantage of the ineffectiveness or the effective implementation of the policies of the government. Why should these discos not be penalized for not distributing enough power to the Nigerian people, to the citizens of this country? And now you are making people now to go and pay additional money for poor services rendered. Because what they do is, at the end of the day, when it comes back to 2025, they will still go back and ask for increment in these tariffs. Meanwhile, for this year, in which they have just increased it, they have not performed. They have not performed at all. So the policies implementation is a problem. And of course, these discos, they are just, mediocres, playing with the emotions of Nigerians. So the band A, band B, band C, really, it has got no meaning in the energy world. It has got no meaning in the energy world.
Right.
If you say that Nigerians are going to enjoy 18 hours, let it be 18 hours of energy supply. There is nothing like all this band-aid. It's just a joke. They have been doing it for long, and they still want to keep doing it, raising the tariffs without providing the services. That is the truth.
All right. Let me get back to Dr. here in the studio. You understand that a lot of, they have been giving us estimated generated power, like the figures and all of that. And so many times it seems Nigerians are using meters. I mean, some Nigerians are using meters where our Inlight are not using meters. We've actually got a report where sometimes they visit some of the estates that are not allowed entries because because of the securities and all of that. But the poor Nigerians are the one financing the sector. You talked issues about issues of metering. Why is the issues of meter, which would have addressed the issue of power theft in this country, not properly addressed? Because when you look at the consumer, what the common Nigerian is consuming, as you mentioned, is about his or her fridge in the house, the AC at most. Even some families cannot even afford AC. Who are really those consuming the power we have?
Well, first, let me thank Osoba for the wonderful insight to this big talk. Back to you, I want to say that it's unfortunate. The major reason we are having all this is poor leadership and corruption. Metering, if you look at it, when the World Bank introduced this metering, it was to be given free to households. They did the pilot scheme and they showed that it works. Most of these distribution agencies are just hiding under no meter and allow household to use direct light, so that all those bypass, they will then collect more money, saying that it is estimated. And I think that, I remember that government came up with the announcement that any house that is not metered should not pay bill. But they have jettisoned that. They have jettisoned that because they have also sit within their cabal to say, no, we have intention to do this. So when you have leadership, and when you tame and then have that political will to activate, strength to do that, I don't see anywhere, any house will be powered without metering. I don't see. But because they so enjoy the estimated billing, and they eat fat from there, they don't want to give it away. They have the metering, they are hoarding it. Even when they have the metering, they are telling you that they are going to configure it. Some people, which I know, because after this, they have been calling, I've known that I've paid some 6 months, and they refuse to give them meter. So what are the disco doing? If that, not that they are celebrating corruption in the power sector. And that is why I feel that the minister should hide himself in shame. He should know that he's coming into office as minister of power. Is not to fly private jets here and then, but to sit down and first and foremost know the problem before you know the solution. You cannot compare an organized crime to a crime that is just picking from the wood to survive, because government have failed us. Government has failed us. This is not what we bargained for. And no masses today can boast of having 2 square meal. No, there's no household except the politicians and the ministers, which they are enjoying themselves and their family.
All right, a sad approach. Back to you, Osoba. We've actually found issues where some areas in this country do not have access to electricity, probably due to infrastructure. Who are those in charge of maintaining the infrastructures, the electricity infrastructure that we have in the power sector? And why is it not being maintained? I mean, why are they so much interested in the issues of a new tariff?
Okay, those that are to take over these infrastructures, either to existing or new areas, actually the whole structure is actually starting from the local authorities. For instance, like the local government, and the local governments in Nigeria, they've actually been empowered to provide, electricity, energy infrastructures to their locality. And as a result, we are now having challenges in that implementation. Now, we now have the state government who are supposed to do the right thing, who are also not doing what they are supposed to do. It's a chain reaction, during the time of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, there was so much funds injected into the local governments in Nigeria for them to be able to service their people at the grassroots. But unfortunately, they are not doing that.
They are not doing the state government. Doctor.
Yes, it is still passing through the state government. So because these state governors, they so much have power that these local governments cannot challenge. Any local government chairman that flaunts against a sitting governor, they will be removed easily, because it is still stated in the constitution that a sitting governor can remove a local government chairman that has been voted in easily. And that problem is there. So as a result, at the grassroots, for those that are yet to have infrastructures, they cannot get it because the local government power has been usurped by the state governors. And these state governors, it is only in their areas of interest that they will go and provide. Others are going to suffer. Imagine, if you go to Ogun State, go to where they call Songwater. Songwater is generating a lot of money for Lagos State and Ogun State. Do you know that over half of the population in that area, they don't have power till today? The transformers are not there, the lines are not there, and they are generating a lot of money, taxes from these areas, and they don't have this infrastructure. So the whole issue is about these government policies between the state and this local government for them to do it. The federal government wouldn't have much power in terms of providing for all these localities. These are some of the challenges. So this is where we have that lacuna, that gap is there. So they are more interested in the tariffs increment than providing the services that are supposed to generate these tariffs for them, because There is no way in any part of the world that you take power for more than 30 minutes and you will be expected to still make that marginal profit. There's what we call cost analysis in energy generation, transmission, and distribution. More than 30 minutes, you are losing. And because in Nigeria, power goes for more than 30 minutes a day or two or three, like I was using as an example recently, that I had power outage for more than 4 days. All these staffs, they are just going to be sitting down, doing nothing. And of course, you have to pay them their salary. So at the end of the year, these guys, as the doctor said, a lot of corruption is going on. They will go back to NEC and tell NEC, look, we want increment in 2025. Meanwhile, they have not provided enough services to the people this year that we are. And that is a challenge. And the government of the day is not looking at it. Why the minister goes on air to be saying things that are not true? They are not true. We have engineers in this country that are capable. A minister cannot be telling people to be switching off deep freezer, fridge. It doesn't make technical meaning to us that are engineers. So there is a lacuna between the roles of the state governor and this local government sector where these infrastructures are supposed to be provided at grassroots. The state governors, like the former president said, he said that they have been paying these state governors and these local government councils a lot of funds. They have been transferring funds to them to improve services at the grassroots, but they are not doing that. Thank you.
All right, Doctor. Issues of power is affecting even business. Now, even government are actually calling for investors to come into the country. But when you now look at the fact that we are still in the power crisis in this country, it is also a matter of concern. Don't you feel that there's a need for the government to see how they can actually make issues of electricity very workable in the country? Because this will boost and increase productions in the country. The poor of the Nigerians are very quite worrisome.
Of course, the extent of governance is to provide infrastructures. I can tell you for free, there are some localities you go to without transformer. I can tell you for free.
Yes.
And if the people don't have this infrastructure, what is the extent of governance? What is the extent of government? Because if you are coming to my area to campaign during election, that you are going to provide all the infrastructure, including electricity, and you are coming in, nothing like that is done, and you expect us to be happy? Nobody. Today, in the country, why the informal economy cannot strive is because of power. Because they spend so much on generating electricity on their own. Not everybody have money for green energy, like bringing in solar and the rest of things. And even government is subsidizing those who are bringing in Mecano generator. And that automatically tells you that they are not ready to make it. Because if power is constant, who will go for generator? Who will go for generator? The people, the cabal importing generating to this country are the one perpetuating and frustrating all effort to ensure that we have 24 hours electricity in this country. And there's nothing anybody can say about it. Because the interplay between the centrifugal forces and centripetal forces, they have found Nigeria as a market that is very conducive to sell their generating set. That's why the Chinese are manipulating us here and then, dictating to us how to run our electricity, how to run an economy. These are forces that any leader that want is sort. It's not about blaming the local government or blaming even the state governors. The federal government has given the ground for these malpractices to be done. Because how will you now slice a Mecano for bringing in a generating set? These are the people that are causing problem in this country. then the area that is well populated, that electricity is supposed to be generated for them, and they are ready to pay, they are not given electricity. But you just wake up, increase tariff without electricity, celebrating that the energy has improved, that we can have 20 hours electricity. For God's sake, we should be ashamed that Nigeria of this age is still looking at 20 hours electricity instead of 24 hours non-interrupted electricity supplies. If that is done, people will have confidence that yes, they meant well, they are doing well, and the economy is improving. Do you know what it means? For you to pay so much in electricity you don't even have, and you are going to buy fuel with a exorbitant rate to power your generator in order to keep your business afloat? Who done that? And you feel the economy can improve. So it is sad. I think the government need to think outside the box to stop all these people from bringing generating set and plans to this economy to add to pollute the system and cause a lot of head hazard. I think we have come a long way, that any government worth its salt should address the issue of power and stop milking the poor for the interest of the international conspirators.
All right. All right. As we begin to round over the program, Soba, let's take a look at, there is a plan. I mean, you are in the sector. Is there any plan to generate 30,000 megawatt by 2030? This was proposed by the federal government, and 3,000 megawatt coming from renewables and 27,000 from its power plants to serve, the millions that we have. Or is it the issue that we have been generating, but the distributing is the issue?
Okay. The issue is still not about this generation. It's they keep talking about generation. Anybody can generate this power. To generate isn't much of an headache. It's not. But for you to be able to transmit it and distribute it, that is where the whole work lies.
So are we finding corruption in this? Are we finding corruption in the issue of transmission and distribution?
The main problem in Nigeria is distribution. The transmission network will have to be, improved upon. That is, they have to be able to go wide and far beyond what they have now. The issue of transmission wouldn't be much of a problem if generation is also, active. But the distribution part of it, like I said the last time, Nigeria is generating below 3,000 megawatts. Now they said that they should prepare for about 6,000 megawatts. Whatever it is, these distribution companies cannot distribute 6,000 megawatts because they have dilapidated infrastructures that they refuse to improve upon. Now, what they do, which is common in electrical engineering in the power sector, is that they will grant whatever that comes from generation. And as a result, these people that generation, that is the GENCOs, they are not able to claim what they have generated for the nation because the dilapidated infrastructures cannot receive what has been transmitted to them. Do you understand? So they will grant it. This granting means wasting. Energy not used cannot be stored. It has to be wasted. So they will grant it, and as a result, when the GENCOs now look at their book, it does not tally with what they have generated. So for all I care, they can generate 50,000 megawatts. They can generate 60,000 megawatts. But the distribution must be adequate, must be ready to receive this energy and be able to distribute it. To cut the story short, generating about 3,000 megawatts is a lot. 3,000 megawatts is a lot. It's not a joke. But the problem in Nigeria is that the discos are not up with what they are doing. Nobody is enforcing what these people are supposed to do. And as a result, they waste energy that has been generated. And the Gencos are saying they are losing. And the discourse will say it is what they receive that they have distributed. Meanwhile, they are not distributing. They are not distributing it. So Nigeria can generate in as much as they can, either through fossil fuel, through renewable energies, but the distribution is very, very key. Yes, it's very, very key. Everybody has got a solar panel on their roofs everywhere. They can distribute this power onto they can, bring it up onto a grid. We don't have a grid for the renewables in Nigeria yet. So people are still generating at their own individual level. But however, the government can venture into it. They will have what we call a solar farm. A solar farm where they will create a grid and be able to distribute to a community.
All right.
The World Bank has sponsored these projects in Ghana, in Rwanda, in Tanzania. They have sponsored it everywhere. But the problem still remains. You must do the right thing. You cannot change the system and be increasing tariffs as you like while you are not providing these services. Exactly. It is because they refuse to provide the services in Nigeria and they keep increasing these tariffs. It doesn't make any technical meaning anymore for you to be increasing tariffs while you are not providing us energy.
All right. Thank you. Been a fantastic approach to that regards. Back to you, Doctor. Successive governments have promised but have failed in the issue of turning the power sector into Nigeria into workable system. Is it the issue of recruiting, wrong people, to mount these different parastatals of leadership in the sector? Or is it the issue of that, as you mentioned, is about the foreign influence that we are particularly having in this country? How do we get out of this? Because we understand that the problems are enormous, but we must get out of all of this before it consumes all of us.
Well, like Osobade said, when you have the paucity of infrastructure, the transmission, distribution becomes a challenge. So it's all boiled down to leadership, the willpower to take critical decision. You know, Babangida did say that it's better to take a wrong decision than not to take at all. Our leaders must take a critical decision that is painful, but not the decision of increasing tariff or removing subsidies, for the service that is rendered postly. We feel very strongly that for us to get out of this wood, it has to do with leadership question. Our leader must understand how things work in other clime, and not to go to other clime and then see 24 hours electricity and come back to Nigeria and still blame the country. You don't, as a leader, you don't blame followers. Blame yourself for not taking a critical decision to salvage. It's not a rocket science. They are born leaders who understand the problem. And for anybody to have been voted into power, let me quote what President Tinubu said. He said they should not pity him, because he knows Nigerian problem. If Nigeria is like a vehicle without engine, and you are buying that vehicle, you first and foremost, what you need to do is to put engine before you do the body work. But you cannot start doing the body work when the engine is not even there in the first place. So energy problem has nothing to do again with legislation. There's enough legislation. The policies are there. But that stakeholders' engagement is fundamental, because there are people who have knowledge and very knowledgeable in solving this problem, but they will not be involved. The reason being that they are cutting corners. And if you look at a lot of researches in this power sector, if you go to several universities, you have them in different initiatives. How many governments have even directed that such documents should even be sent for re-examination to see the workability of it? None. There are a lot of people generating, even building generators without fuel today. But the Ministry of Science and Technology are looking at them as nothing, because they may have the academic know-how, but lack the technical know-how. In this energy situation, you must recruit people with sound technical know-how. You just see what has happened in Abia State. It's not a rocket science. He took it, and now Abia State is a model. That is an individual. I mean, so you can see he was given opportunity to uphold and change the past. But those caterpillars, I call them caterpillars in policy, they will not allow it because they would do everything to blackmail him. And today, he has proved himself an authority in Abia State. He's doing excellent work. The world is celebrating, looking at that. So what stopped them? Because, as I told you, the international communities have found Nigeria as a market to sell their generating sets. So they will do everything to frustrate 24 hours power supply because they realize that once that is done, who will have time for their generators? Nobody. I have not seen any client you work in except you see generator in the farm where they use it for irrigation.
All right, that's a much we'll be taking on the conversations of the issues of the electricity tariff. We do hope that government may begin to pay attention to some of these sensitive issues because Nigerians just want lives to be better and not increasing perpetual sufferings to Nigerians. Many times, Engineer Soba Adesoji is the principal consultant of 2AC's project and electrical engineer per excellence. Many thanks for a talk tonight on the show. We do hope to have you more and more on the conversations of power. Many thanks. And of course, very much a reserve appreciation to Dr. Tommy Okon, who is the first vice president of TUC and the national president of Senior Civil Servant. Many thanks for joining us on the conversations. We do hope that Nigerians will get better. That's always your thoughts.
Thank you. I appreciate
We'll go on a quick break right now. Once we return, we'll take an highlight on the issues and the impeachment of the former deputy governor, Philip Shaibu, in Edo State. Do stay with us. A lot have been said about Shaibu Philip impeachment by the House of Assembly and the immediate swearing in of the new deputy governor. But many concern has been how the way actually, how the Shaibu gets to fall out with Godwin Obaseki, who he has been a very strong ally to the governor. I mean, when we look at the history about how he came on board, you understand that no one see this actually coming. But a lot of lessons have been learned. We'll be taking a look at some of these. What are the aftermath of this impeachment? What effect do we begin to see that may be occurring in the political space of Edo State? Mind you that the deputy governor that have been inaugurated and sworn into office by the House of Assembly is a member of the Labour Party, who the governor had used his power to bring. And many people, the PDP members in Edo State, are saying, no, you wouldn't have brought in a Labour Party, a candidate of a Labour Party in the last election to come for the deputy governor of the state in a party of People's Democratic Party. And this has been a many concern. But what is your thought? Is where we'll be taking a look with Aliyu Bilal, who is a public affairs analyst, joining me on the show to talk on the issues of Edo. Good to have you join us.
It's my pleasure, Michael.
Yes, we understand that some dramas are coming in from Edo State. What is your view? What is your thoughts?
Well, actually, the impeachment of Philip Shaibu, well, we saw it coming because for the past 1 year, Philip Shaibu has really had a very, rocky, his career has had a very rocky terrain. What we need to understand is that Philip Shaibu, coming from the background of a unionist, politics is really different from unionism. Politics is more of like negotiations and diplomacy. You don't fight for political power, you negotiate for it. Looking at the events over the past 1 year, we all know that he, embarked on his quest to become the governor of Edo State, but his approach was like really wrong in the sense that there was a negotiation made within the party, because they said it's time to zone the tickets to the central part of Edo State. So looking at Philip Shaibu now, he has been so emotional. Most of those people that come from the background of pressure groups, I know, always tend to have a very rough political terrain based on the fact that they are being emotional. Politics is not just all about emotions, it's just more of diplomacy in the sense. You can't just, go against the wish of your master and feel because you have the political machineries at your disposal and feel you could go against his wish and clinch the tickets. Just look at the primary elections held in Edo State. Philip Shaibu went ahead to hold a primary elections in the comfort of his compound, which is very, very wrong and against, the constitution of the party. So we've seen this coming that there will be an impeachment process against Philip Shaibu.
All right. What are the lessons to learn? We always have these issues of fallout between the politicians, and so many times there's always been issues of very close politicians to the other. But what are the most concerned lessons to get from these? Does it therefore mean that deputy governors should always be aware of how he gets to relate with the governor? Because so many people are saying, you are a joint ticket, you're a joint candidate to the governor. The governor picks you as his deputy. So you owe him loyalty, you owe him, all of those things. But in the other way around, you understand that character differences. Shaibu, has been a finance president. He has been in the House of Representatives. So he has been in the political space even before Obaseki. So do you feel that there is another way Shaibu would have managed, these issues of his aspiration to become the governor? Or do you, he's a Nigerian and has every right to contest for election. What is his offense? How do you feel that he would have properly managed that situation not to cause this rift between him and the governor?
looking at Shaibu perspective, he's coming from, the background of a unionist. It's way different. Unionism and politics there is way different. You can't, come up with the principles of a unionist in politics. It doesn't work at all. They are two different, perspectives. Unionism has to do with like pressure groups, adding, it's all about struggles, while politics is just more of like being diplomatic. We can look at other unionists that we've had in the past, like Adams Oshomole, for example, handling when he was the chairman of the APC, whereby the APC was drifting into crisis and he was unable to solve the problems, and that's led to led to him stepping down as the chairman, national chairman of the APC. We've seen people like that coming from the such backgrounds like Dino Melaye, you've seen people like Showore. These are people that's like, they feel more happy fighting the government than being in government, So it's coming from such kind of like background, will always make you have a rough, political terrain. So I feel like you just need to politics is just all about patience and diplomacy and doing the right thing. You can't just, fight for yourself. Shaibu was fighting for himself. And one thing about politics is that you need people to back you up. You can't just go into a battle alone. You end up coming out as a loser.
All right. Do you feel that this action may have a way of, to play out in the election, the forthcoming elections in Edo State? People are saying that Obaseki is romancing with Labour Party for him to be able to bring in someone from the Labour Party to be the deputy governor of Edo State. Do you feel that is a move that Obaseki might be able to, have a successor? A succession plan may be able to work out?
Yes, there's a succession plan in there. Right now, the Labour Party is now gaining grounds in Edo State, and we could see from the results of the past, just concluded general elections, he has to align with the Labour Party. That's why he's coming, he's bringing, I appointed a member of the Labour Party as, the deputy governor. So there's a bit of alignment with this with the Labour Party in order to draw votes from that zone, and also penetrating into the other senatorial districts in Edo State to see how to gather votes within all those districts in order to become victorious at the gubernatorial elections. So right now it's just all about negotiations, as I told you earlier on. Politics is just a game of negotiations, and at the end we're saying it, PDP are coming up strong, and it's most likely that they're going to win the gubernatorial elections in those states.
All right, we understand that there is quite a lot to be, to take on in Edo State, and we're still beaming a light to look at critically what then may play out in the gubernatorial elections. And we understand that Shaibu may actually have some steps to take, either to stay in the PDP or to defect. Do you feel that Shaibu may be able to defect from the party? Because this is the issue of a true issue of, all right, we don't have time for that discussion. I think because I've just been alerted, our time is quite very up. And it's been an interesting conversation having tonight on the issues of electricity tariff and the impeachment move, the impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly on Philip Shaibu, who is now the former deputy governor. A lot have been said. We are following the tracks, and of course, we'll keep on bringing conversations as events keep on unfolding on the show. Big Talk. I am Medican Michael, but it's time for stay with us. Many thanks, Ali, for joining us on the conversion.
It's my pleasure, Michael.
We want to see you. Many thanks.